Imagine being asked if you wanted to adopt a 12-year-old girl from China who didn't speak English. That's exactly what happened for one Arizona mom and author, Sandra Wilson. And although it's not something she and her husband had planned for, they wouldn't have had it play out any other way. She's sharing this story in her book. It's called Luck Times Two. A great read right now, since November is National Adoption Awareness Month. So we want to check in with Sandra this morning. She's joining us to talk about this very personal story, and from one adoptive mom to another. It really is always great to see this celebration of the way families are formed, because they're formed in so many different ways, and the love and the bond happens as it's meant to. So what led you to writing this story?
Hey, Olivia, thank you. And I'm so glad you welcomed me into this. Yeah, adoption is so special. And we are so lucky that we were able to adopt Sierra. We hadn't planned on adopting a 12-year-old, really kind of changed our lives completely. But it was a wonderful experience, and I really wanted to write about adoption because I think there are so many families that suffer with infertility that could really change their lives if they went forward with the adoption. Either a baby, an older child, doesn't really matter. They just totally change your life. And so I just wanted to share this story, and I plan on writing one about all three of my adoptions. So I've adopted 3 kids.
Yeah, so you're a mom to 3, the other 2 children adopted as infants. So how different was this experience with Sierra, and all of the time that she had been formed and growing up and becoming a person without your influence? So how different was the experience for you all?
Yeah, so different. You get a baby handed to you, and even though our kids were a little bit older, they weren't newborns, it was a lot easier. But when we got Sierra, she was 12 years old. She couldn't speak English. Everything was different for her, right? She lived in China for 12 years in an orphanage. She went to a boarding school to learn. She didn't have parents. She did take care of the kids, so she was a natural sister when she got here. She bonded with my younger kids very easily and very quickly. But it was very different because she just didn't know anything about America. She didn't know how to read. She didn't know how to write. And so we had our struggles. And she also was bullied a bit. She's only 4'6" even to this day. So she had a lot of challenges she had to overcome, and she did it. She's just such a fabulous girl.
I imagine that the bond for the entire family to kind of envelop her and help her adjust as best as possible and as quickly as possible into all of the things you mentioned, not just your family, but into life in the United States. It must have been a very unique experience for the kids to be part of as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember the first day when she came and they really couldn't communicate. And Sierra was afraid of our animals. You can see my little puppy behind me on the screen. But so she was afraid of the cat, the dog. She had never lived with pets. She didn't know anything about that. And she had grandparents she had to meet. She had aunts and uncles, and had to learn to go to school. And we brought her to a Montessori school to start with, just so she could learn a lot of English, and put her in front of the TV, believe it or not, is what the pediatrician said to do. So she spent a lot of time, listening to SpongeBob and things like that to learn English. But it was a very different experience. But she has such a beautiful, optimistic spirit, and that carries through all languages.
Well, Sandra, it was wonderful to hear your story and to reinforce how magical adoption can be for families all across the country, and whether it's domestic or international. It's a really beautiful thing. So thank you so much for sharing the story. The book is Luck Times Two. You can get it on Amazon and pretty much everywhere, and we really appreciate speaking to you today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it too. Have a wonderful day.
You too. We'll be right back with more.